ADHD doesn't show up in your 40s. Your coping strategies stop working in your 40s. That's what most women miss when they start wondering whether something is going wrong with their brain. If you're in your late 30s or early 40s, doom scrolling at 11 p.m. even though you're wrecked, walking into the kitchen and forgetting why 3 times a day, this is for you. In your 20s you outran it. Coffee and all-nighters and chaos that was small. In your 30s, you worked twice as hard as everyone else for the same result and called that being a perfectionist. By 40, the energy ran out, the hormones started shifting, and the strategies collapsed. Here's what's actually happening. The prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that handles focus, planning, and follow-through. It runs on dopamine. ADHD brains produce dopamine, but they also produce more dopamine transporters. These work like vacuums, sucking the dopamine back up before the message lands. So the effort goes in, the signal doesn't get through. Then layer hormones on top. Estrogen helps the brain make and use dopamine. When estrogen drops, in the second half of your cycle, after childbirth, in perimenopause, dopamine drops with it. This is why so many women get their first ADHD diagnosis in their late 30s or early 40s. The hormonal rug pulls out at the same time the demands peak. Around 800,000 Australians have ADHD. The Australian government's response to the 2023 Senate inquiry confirmed that women are most often diagnosed in their late 30s or early 40s. The mean age in published research is 32.7 years. You're not late, you're part of a pattern. Here are 5 things to know if you think this might be you. 1. Look at the pattern across your life, not just the bad weeks. The diagnostic question isn't, am I struggling now? It's, have I always been this way? Lost things in primary school. Daydreamed through high school but pulled grades together. Started 6 projects in your 20s, finished none. The job that fell apart when the structure changed. If it's been there your whole life, it's worth a proper assessment. 2. Don't let one closed door close all of them. Some GPs and even some psychologists still carry the hyperactive boy template in their heads. The 2023 Senate inquiry explicitly named gender bias as a problem in Australian ADHD assessment. If the first clinician dismisses you, that's a knowledge gap on their end, not evidence against you. Look for clinicians who specifically mention experience with adult women, late diagnosis, or ADHD. 3. Get assessed for the whole picture. ADHD almost never shows up alone in adult women. Anxiety, depression, PMDD, autism, sleep, hormones, past trauma. When you book the assessment, ask whether it covers comorbidities or only ADHD. The answer matters. 4. The shame doesn't dissolve on diagnosis day. This is the part most articles skip. You'll get the diagnosis, feel relieved for a week, and then grief arrives. Grief for the years you thought you were lazy, the friendships you lost, the job you walked away from, the version of yourself you'd be if someone had caught this at 12. Rejection, sensitive dysphoria, the brain-based pain response in ADHD that turns mild criticism into devastation, doesn't switch off because you got a diagnosis. That work is psychological work. ADHD-informed therapy that knows what RSD is and treats decades of self-blame as the wound it actually is. 5. Know what the medication conversation is. We're psychologists, not prescribers, but you should know what the options are. Stimulant medication is first-line treatment for adult ADHD and helps around 80% of adults who try it. It doesn't change who you are. It lets the dopamine signal arrive. Some women find their long-standing anxiety drops dramatically once the ADHD is treated, because the anxiety was the brain's response to losing track of the day. Whether you medicate or not is your call. The point is to make the choice with information. Here's what changes when you actually get help. The morning where you don't need 3 coffees and a small panic to leave the house. The evening where you read a book without your phone in your other hand. The kitchen counter that stays clear for more than 4 hours. Less hidden effort to do the things that should be normal. ADHD is one of the most treatable adult mental health conditions. Around 80% of adults respond to medication. CBT adapted for adult ADHD adds what medication can't. There's good support in Australia now in a way that didn't exist 5 years ago. If you're working out whether ADHD is part of your picture, or if you've been diagnosed and need help with what comes next, that's what we do at Proactive Psychology. The full article is in the description. Next week, we're looking at the freeze response. When anxiety doesn't look like anxiety, and your brain hits the emergency brake instead of panicking. Subscribe so you don't miss it.